former Congressman Ron Paul has just issued the mother of all warnings to the American people. And the reason that I want to share it today is because I believe that we should all listen very closely to what he's saying because it could very well impact our future. Now, before I dive into his report, please get to restrictedrepublic.com. I started this because of everything that is going on in society. In fact, I've got exclusive reports on there that you are not going to see anywhere else. In fact, you're going to want to see this video. I've got 10 predictions for 2023, and I usually am a majority of the time correct, and these are just my opinions, but get to restrictedrepublic.com to see this video. It is only on that platform along with many others, and get it right now for $5 a month. For that first year, use the coupon code Trump. All right, so let's dive into this warning that was given by Ron Paul, and let's go directly to his webpage so you can see it straight from the horse's mouth there. And here it is. We're at ronpaulinstitute.org, and that is the father of Rand Paul, who, by the way, is an amazing libertarian. If you guys don't follow Rand Paul, I love all his stuff. I've got many libertarian views and kind of a mix between libertarian and conservative, but Rand Paul is his son, and he's the one that's really standing against Fauci. I'm sure many of you know that. But let's go back to the ronpaulinstitute.org, our former congressman here. And you can see right at the very top, it's titled The Mother of All Economic Crises. And I believe that he titled that for a reason, because what he's warning about in here will really chill you to the core. And you can see it was published recently, December 12th, 2022. But he starts off with this. Nouriel Roubini, a former advisor to the IMF and member of President Clinton's Council of Economic Advisors, was one of the few mainstream economists to predict the collapse of the housing bubble. Now, Roubini is warning that the staggering amounts of debt held by individuals, businesses, and the government will soon lead to the mother of all economic crises. Now, I want to go over to some of the news articles on Roubini here so you can see kind of what he's predicting directly. And then I'm going to go back to Ron Paul's site. But let's go on over right here to businessinsider.com or marketinsider.com. And here it is. The headline reads, stocks could plummet another 25% if there's a recession next year. Dr. Doom economist Nouriel Roubini warns. It goes on, quote, and here's a direct quote from Roubini. If we have something more severe than a short and shallow recession, but not as severe as the global financial crisis, you have another 25% downside potentially in the markets. And that's what he told Bloomberg. But he goes on to state this, and I quote, in the last 60 years, there's never been a crisis in U.S. history where you have inflation above 5% and unemployment below 5%, that when the Fed starts to raise interest rates, you get a soft landing. He said, in every case, you get a hard landing. Now, obviously, this isn't the first time that he's warned about a potential economic crisis. As Ron Paul stated, he told us about what happened with the crisis of 2008 and the entire collapse. But he also gets his name, by the way, I kind of want to share this part of Dr. Doom. He acquired that with a series of pessimist predictions in the 2000s and has repeatedly raised the alarm about stagflation debt crisis that he thinks will trigger the mother of all economic crisis. So here we have a leading economist who rightly predicted the housing bubble collapse that we had earlier on in the 2000s. And now he is saying that we need to prepare, and more specifically for another 25% plummet and another recession. I obviously believe we're already in a recession, but according to his prediction, things are going to get a lot worse. Now let's go back on over to Ron Paul so he can continue with his personal warning here. But he goes on to state on that same website there, he says the Fed has been trying to eliminate price inflation with a series of interest rate increases. So far, these rate increases have not significantly reduced price inflation. That is because rates remain in historic lows. Yet, the rate increases have had negative economic effects, including a decline in the demand for new homes. Increasing interest rates make it impossible for many middle and working class Americans to afford a monthly mortgage payment for even a relatively inexpensive home. He goes on here in this next paragraph. He says the federal government's fiscal picture is made worse by the fact that the Social Security Trust Fund will begin to run deficits by 2023, and Medicare Trust is also going to run those deficits by 2028. I believe that those 2 years are things that we should be looking at, especially seeing the fact that some of these services are going to run out. But he goes on, the looming bankruptcy of the two major entitlement programs, combined with the unwillingness of most in Congress to reduce welfare or warfare spending, puts the Fed in a bind. If it raises rates to the levels needed to really combat price inflation, the increase in interest payments will impose hardships on individuals and businesses, as well as raise federal interest payments to unsustainable levels. And this is a key point here. This will cause a major economic crisis, including a government default on its debt, causing a rejection of the dollar's world reserve currency status. And if the Fed continues to facilitate that deficit by monetizing the debt, the result will be an economic crisis caused by a collapse in the dollar's value and a rejection of the dollar as the world reserve status. That's powerful. So here he's stating, look, if we keep on this path, and when these things start expiring, we are going to see, and in his words, an economic crisis caused by a collapse of the US dollar as the world's reserve currency, as it rejects the dollar as the world reserve currency. But then he goes on to add one more powerful point that I absolutely want you to see in this last paragraph here. And here's what he says. The crisis will lead to social unrest and violence. As well as increased popularity of authoritarian movements on both the left and right. This will lead to government crackdowns on civil liberties and increased government control of our economy. The only bright spot is the crisis will also fuel interest in the ideas of liberty and could help bring about the return of limited constitutional government with free markets there. So I'm just kind of putting that all in a shorter version. So he's saying, look, this could lead to social unrest and violence, or he says this will lead to social unrest and violence right here in the United States, and it will lead to more authoritarian style government, be it on the left or be it on the right. However, that does come with the disclaimer that this will also incite more of a liberty movement for people to start standing up for rights for our constitutional rights and ideas. So we don't know which way the cookie will crumble, so to speak, but this is a very bold warning from Ron Paul, and I believe we should definitely take it to heart. But my 2 cents is, I don't think he's necessarily wrong. In fact, and one of my predictions there, I'll give you a hint at one, has to do with something similar to what Ron Paul is talking about here in this report. Anyhow, please make sure you're still subscribed to my channel here on YouTube. They have been adamant about removing people. Also, if you haven't checked out my brand new channel on YouTube, it's called We're Forked Up, and I'm going to pull it up here. On my YouTube channel here. Let's go on over there. But it's we'reforkedup.com. It's absolutely 100% free if you're looking for something free to follow. We've got short videos, we've got regular videos there, and it doesn't cost anything to follow. Just hit that subscribe button there. There's also a link in the description box. But that's more on food, fun, entertainment, doing restaurant reviews while having fun and bringing you, America, along with us to the table. So subscribe to that site. But with that, please don't forget to check out my partner. They are so valuable today. But ketowithlisa.com. I've got keto packets here I personally use this in my coffee each and every single morning. It's amazing. And sometimes I have a couple cups of coffee. But we have keto. This keto is amazing. If you're looking really to do the keto diet without all the keto dieting, this is absolutely the way to go. It kind of gives you an energy boost. It helps support your metabolism, and it even helps that mental focus along as well. But check it out at ketowithlisa.com and take advantage of up to 51% off. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.